Dear students, family, friends, alumni, Insead faculty and staff, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the MBA graduation for the class of December 2012, Fontainebleau edition. It was not quite 12 months ago that I welcomed you all to campus, either in Singapore or in Fontainebleau for the start of your program. I must say, this is the first time I see you as well-dressed as that day. There's a lot of road between the person that you were when you joined us and where you sit today. And I hope, as you look forward to the journey ahead of you, that it's fundamentally different than the way you would have gone had you not spent a year with us here at Insead. You've had many different paths through Insead. You all have your own unique experiences. Some of you started in Singapore. Who started in Singapore? All right. Who started in Fontainebleau? How many of you were at graduation in Singapore on Wednesday with me? You're nuts. All right. So, however, although you've all had your own journey, and Insead probably means something a little bit different to each of you, as we'll hear today, there's a core to the Insead experience that is often constant across each of you and also over time. When I greeted you in January, I promised you a unique and exceptional experience, an experience that really goes back to the founding of the school around a one-year MBA at the first truly international business school. What I promised you was intensity. Right? You've done about 80% of the coursework as in a two-year program, and as far as I could tell, at least 100% of the socializing, as one would usually expect in 2 years. To make this work, I told you, and you now see why, we needed a truly world-class faculty that was not only an expert in their subject area, but was also committed to be excellence in the classroom so that they could hold your attention at 8:30 in the morning after a National Week dinner. Promised you, of course, a global program. Over 80% of you have spent time studying at more than one location. And of course, I think the hallmark of Insead is we promised unmatched diversity of perspectives. And I said something to you at the beginning that I don't know if it registered at the time, but what I think makes Insead special is not just that you're all diverse and have wonderful experiences before you get here, but we really try and find a group of people who are open and excited about sharing that experience, about benefiting from others' experiences, and just curious about where each of you came from. And I hope you have made the most of that opportunity. So, well, actually, it's a little bit bright up here, so if you'll forgive me for a second. All right, so I ask you, class of 12D, did we deliver a unique experience? All right. This is what you get when you start graduation in Singapore, right? So, all right, there you go. If nothing else, I hope that this year has stretched your notion of what you can live and accomplish in 12 months. Let me go now from the present, your present, all the way back to the beginning of Insead. As you probably know, the school was founded or inspired by George Doriot, very much in the spirit of Insead, even though it didn't exist at the time, a brilliant French business school professor, making his career at Harvard in the middle of the last century. Became a general in the US Army in World War II, responsible for logistics. He had two enduring contributions to the world. And you'll be all lucky to have one major contribution. He had two really big things. First of all, Doriot, in many ways, is considered the father of the venture capital industry. Founded the first fund. Where did that come from? Where it came from a desire to really give something back to the world. At the end of World War II, like many others, Doriot was wrestling with what to do with all the returning veterans. And obviously today we have similar issues in many parts of the world with how to employ all of the talent out there. And Doriot had a simple idea. Why don't I set up a fund to support their new ventures? And out of that desire to give back and to help and address that social problem came, first of all, a very lucrative business and an enduring contribution to the world. That fund had the first successful tech IPO at $350 million, which was his investment in DEC, digital equipment. But his second big contribution was Insead. He saw the need for an international business school in the 1950s to really help with the integration of Europe. And in typical Insead fashion, he did not do this himself. He basically inspired a bunch of young MBAs to come back to Europe, to work with his contacts to create this school. And it's my pleasure now to call up on stage Claude Johnson, one of the young MBAs that came back in the 1950s to found Insead, has been with us on our journey ever since. Many years, chairman of our board, currently the honorary chairman of the Insead board. Please welcome me in welcoming Claude Johnson. Claude.
Thanks, Peter. Deepak, you haven't spoken, but I thank you also. Ladies and gentlemen, and particularly dear MBA graduates, on behalf of our chairman, Franz Humer, and of our entire board, I would like to congratulate all of you very warmly for having obtained your MBA today, as well as to thank our guest speaker, who is an alumnus as well, Laurent Attal. He's Executive Vice President of L'Oréal, a highly successful company, as you all know, and a company that has always been very close to Insead from the start, and which has hired a great number of MBAs from Insead, to the point that at some point we claimed here that L'Oréal had been made by Insead. It's not quite true, but we claimed that. Anyway, thank you for being with us today. The degree that you are getting today, the Insead MBA, as you know, is one of the most appreciated in the world, and I'm sure that your careers will be greatly helped by this diploma. Many of you have spent time here and in Singapore, and I know that it will have been for you an extraordinary experience. Insead, as you know, has become now one of the largest business schools in the world, with its 3 campuses in Fontainebleau, Singapore, and Abu Dhabi, an executive MBA program which is growing very fast, a PhD, and it is also one of the world's largest providers of executive education. So you belong to this family, and I'm very proud of you that you do. I'm very grateful to Peter for having quoted General Doriot, because General Doriot, really Insead, was a project of George Doriot. You've seen his name on the library, his and his wife's, on the library. And his vision, he was a man of vision, and his vision of what we should become is what has in fact become. I just want to say a word about the alumni, because you now belong to the family of alumni. Insead is unique in the way that it is private and completely independent. That means that we don't belong to university. We are not sponsored by Chamber of Commerce. We are just alone in the world, if I can say. It has brought a lot of advantages in the fact that it has made it more possible, easier, to make fast decisions without having to refer to university or to ask for permission for anybody. I'll give an example, the decision to open the campus in Singapore. When we made the decision that we should open a campus there, I was chairman at the time, the dean was Antonio Borges. Antonio sold the project to the faculty, which had been also beefed up by Henri-Claude de Bétigny, whose son, I understand, is graduating today, and who is the man who brought us to Asia. And I would like us to clap for Henri-Claude, because without Henri-Claude, we would probably not have an Asian campus today in Singapore. But when the decision was made, the dean had to convince the faculty, I had to convince the board, and the decision was made. We had to find the money and the ways to do it. But that we didn't have, again, to refer to anybody. So it has brought this independence a lot of advantages. But it also leaves us a bit alone in the world, if I can say, and it puts a special responsibility, I think, on the alumni. Because there are only two constituencies at Insead, the faculty. Without the faculty, there would be no school, and the alumni. And the alumni have to give a lot of backing and time to Insead. They have in the past, and they have to in the future. And the alumni have a growing role. I was not an alumnus because I was there before they were alumni, but my two successors, Kees van Lede and Frans Sommer, are both alumni. The majority of board members are alumni. The presidents of all board committees are alumni. Majority of the members of the 25 national councils are alumni. And a great part of the financial support that Insead is getting is obtained either from alumni or with the help of alumni with the companies they know well. So the future of Insead, in my mind, is very largely in the hands of alumni. And that puts me to engage you to be involved in the affairs of Insead. When one says we'll call on alumni, the alumni immediately think they'll call for my money. But that's true, we will. But it's not only that. I think it's very important that all of you understand that you have to make a kind of personal commitment to give time in your respective countries or in the various ways that you can imagine to help alumni and look for its future. Because if you don't, nobody will. The founders have disappeared or are disappearing, and really the future is in the hands of alumni. And you have to be active in the alumni institutions. George Dorio was always quoting something. He said, and wishing his students at the time at Harvard the greatest success in business, in their families, but he was always saying, that's not quite enough. You always have to look for the epsilon. The epsilon is a little something that you do in addition to what you normally should be doing. And the success of your life and your self-appraisal will be greatly enhanced if you use this concept of epsilon to do more than what people would normally expect of you. And I hope that part of this epsilon will be in the favor of Insead's future and development. Again, quoting George Dorio, he was always saying the story of the three men who were breaking stones on the road. And they were being asked, what are you doing? One said, I break stones. The other one said, I'm earning a living. And the third one said, I help build cathedrals. I trust you will be, after your year here, among the people who build cathedrals. Again, all my congratulations for having achieved being an MBA from Insead. Best wishes for a very successful career and also for the holiday season, and good luck to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Claude. It's now my pleasure to introduce one of the preeminent thought leaders on management education for over a decade, first as Dean of Kellogg and now as Dean of Insead. Please join me in welcoming Deepak C. Jain. Deepak.
I thought Peter would have a better introduction for me, okay? And I tell you why. There was a time when I had to replace Professor Kotler for a talk. And the reason was that his son-in-law was involved in an accident. So he could not make the appointment. So he came and asked me, Deepak, would you substitute for me? And they were expecting about 3,000 people. So I said, Professor Kotler, why do you want to put me in such an awkward situation? I said, why don't you go and ask the sponsor if they can postpone it? He said, Deepak, let me try that. And the sponsor said that 2,800 people have already sponsored, and it was a paid event. So you have to do it. I said, I cannot say no to you. So I flew to this place. And I had a breakfast meeting with the sponsor. So 8 to 9 was the breakfast, 9 o'clock was the show. So when the sponsor looked at me, he almost had a heart attack. He said, is this guy going to speak today? So he asked me, what do you do? Because there was no background of me, and in the books, it was all Phil Kotler. So I said that I'm Phil Kotler's colleague, and recently I have become the dean of the school. He said, what do you do as a dean? Because he was a businessman, didn't know what it means. So I said, as a dean, you put some structure, create the curriculum, and also you are in charge of the faculty, and when faculty members have to do something beyond our relationships with other institutions, they have to let the dean's office know so that we keep track of what the faculty members are doing. He said, now I know how to introduce you. And he didn't even ask me what my name was. I didn't have a business card, and neither did he. So he came to the podium and said, good morning. Everyone said, good morning. He asked the audience, how many of you know the name Phil Kotler? All the hands went up. He said, today I want to introduce you to the boss of Phil Kotler. And I said that was a very simple introduction. So, but today is a special day for we faculty to celebrate the success and the achievements you had over this year with your interaction with us and also your interaction with our members of the administration. And this is a success that you have earned. By earning, I mean not financial earning, but earned in terms of your knowledge. And many years ago, just to build on George Dorio, he said, without action, the world would still be an idea. Still being an idea means you have to put into action what you have learned at Insead or in your previous schools. So before I make some few remarks, I would like all the students to stand and give a big hand to your families, friends, because it was their support that this day was possible. So come and give a hand to all the faculty members. Please have a seat. Otherwise, we would be here till tomorrow. Okay. Now I will ask all the family members to stand up and give a big hand to the graduating students because they are going to increase your reputation. Thank you. I admire the students who heard us in Singapore and now they are back here to hear us again because this really required some courage to hear professors again because we faculty members love to talk and we never mind hearing us again and again. So I see lots of you trying to cool yourself, right? It seems there is some warmth in the room, and this reminds me that once I was welcoming the students who were interested in going to business schools. So it was a big gathering, students who had admissions from many schools. And this is very common in the US in the month of February before they make a decision. And they were just surveying the schools where they should go. So I gave my usual speech, and then there was a Q&A session. So the person stood up and said, Dean Jain, what are you going to do about the Chicago weather? Because 9 months of the year it's very cold. Now as a dean, you don't have any control over the weather. So I thought, and secondly, every question doesn't deserve an answer. So I told him, I said, Mr. X, in life you should believe in the principle of a refrigerator. Things kept in a cooler environment stay fresh for a long time. And after that, he never asked anything. So my point is, we have to stay with what we have. These constraints are not constraints, but these constraints are made to make use of them and do the best in your life. I remember the day, 1962, when my father took me to the school, and I asked him, why do we need to go to the school? He said, you go to school to learn the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic. I said it was a very nice thing. You need to know how to read, write, and do some sums. When I had to go and speak at a graduation ceremony for another school, I thought, what speech do I need to give? So I told the students that today you are graduating. We all started the school in the first grade or the kindergarten. And I thought of the 3 R's. One is reflection, one is relationship, and the third is responsibility. So after you graduate, you're going to work, but the first thing is reflect on what you have achieved. Don't what I would say, forget the relationships you have created here. You came here for the brand of Insead, and from branding you moved to bonding. What Claude Johnson said is very true, that we need your engagement with the school, and from today, you are our brand ambassadors. And that is what we feel, that we are graduating close to 500 students, and over time, the population of the alumni group would be so good that we don't have to spend money on advertising. You are going to be the person, if somebody asks you, what's Insead look like? You will tell all the good things. And if they ask what is not good, you can blame it on us. So, looking at my X number of years, I feel very blessed that education is what would change the world. And you need to reflect based on what you have achieved and your relationships on what responsibility you have moving forward. And our responsibilities would include how or what we can do to make this world a better place to live, and how we can make the lives of others better. This year has been tough for me, and in Singapore, when Peter and I was giving the diploma, lots of students said, before I could say them congratulations, they said, Dean Jain, we wish you the best. So I said that these people remember. So I have said this many times, that I was diagnosed with brain tumor with cancer, and the tumor was somewhere between my speech and memory. So doctor said that if we have to make an error, we will make on your memory. So they took the tissue out of the memory side, because he says, you are a professor, we cannot do anything on the speech. I, for a short time, thought this is a good opportunity for me to visit God. He refused an appointment. He said, it's too early for you. And two of the doctors were my students who treated me. And I told them, you didn't get an A in my course, make sure that I get an A in the treatment. So they said, we will try our best. And August 27th, when I went to recheck before I was coming here, they said, you are sharper than before. So I told them, people come for car washing, I'm here for brain washing. They said they don't recommend this washing to others. I said, no, I'm never going to repeat this. Another thing that I have learned, that we cannot deny what's happening from Mother Nature. Newton many years ago said, to every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. In social science, to every action, there is an equal and opposite delayed reaction, because things take time to manifest. And the only thing you can do to delay that process is by humanity, humility, and honesty. You are going to make us proud, I have no doubt in that. But before you take an action, think of the reaction. And the reaction would not only be on you, but it would also affect the reputation of the school. And we count on you to think about how you can help us build our reputation. And this school, the reason I came here was, first, I believe in the one-year program. Second is this whole global diversity, because you don't learn from us alone, you learn from each other. And the third, which I think is very true, that the quality of teaching here is excellent, because the professor do take very a large interest in making sure they do well. Now, some of the new professors who would come are in the training process. I remember in my first class, when I read the evaluations, a student wrote that this person should be tied with a piece of rock and thrown into Lake Michigan so that he doesn't surface back, because he was very disappointed with the class. And then during an alumni gathering, he came to me and said, Professor, I was the person who wrote this, and now I see you and I read about you. And I was always nominated as the top 5 professors, but never got the award. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride, right? But still it is good for you to be in that set. And my final message to all of you is, where I grew up, where I studied, never went to a school with a big brand. But you will do and shine based on how much efforts you put into your job, because that you can control. So make sure that you believe in your colleagues, believe in the company, and only thing I can ask is do your best. And best means never forget that your success can become a part of your failure, which means sometimes people have such a big ego that they think they can get away with anything. But your success can become a part of your failure, and today is the day when you think that you are starting your journey from success to significance. But for you to make any significant contribution, you first have to be successful. Then only people would believe in what you say. I remember the day I invited Bill Gates to come to Kellogg. At that time, Microsoft's stock used to double every other month. And today you see what he is doing, and people read about him because his success in setting up Microsoft, people say, if this person has done so much, we believe in what you can achieve. So lots of people have knowledge, but then there are wise people who have wisdom. And by coming to Insead, we are focused on knowledge, and a day would come where you would make us proud by doing things that we could have never done ourselves. So I wish you all the very best. And one thing I can tell you, Insead is always behind you. So make sure that we keep the touch, the bonding, and we hope that you rise to higher occasions. And now, before I leave the podium, I would like all of you to stand and give a big hand to my colleagues. They work very hard, and they are like the Intel inside. So all of you come, my colleagues here, and give a big hand to my people here. Thank you. Ida. And before Peter introduces the chief guest of the day, you will hear from him who he is and what he has done. But among us is a person who is part of my department, Pierre Chandon, who is now the L'Oreal chair in innovation and marketing. I don't know whether I'm saying the real description, but you can see what faculty members can do once they get a chair in terms of bringing new research to us. Pierre, can you stand up? Because they would see you, he's not only a great teacher, but also a great colleague.
All right. Thank you very much, Deepak. It's now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Laurent Attal. Laurent is currently Vice President, General Manager of Research and Innovation for L'Oreal. More importantly, though, he's an Insead MBA class of 1985. Started off in sales at L'Oreal, I'm originally a dermatologist. He then managed the active cosmetics division, and most notably from 2005 to 2010 was president of L'Oreal USA. Please join me in welcoming Laurent back to Insead. Welcome.
Thank you, Peter. Ladies and gentlemen, I am extremely honored to be with you today on your graduation from one of the finest business schools in the world. If I had been told 27 years ago, when I first came to Insead, that I would be standing here before you, talking about the future, I wouldn't have believed it, particularly as it is the 21st of December 2012 and the end of the world according to the Mayas. Therefore, as it appears that we do not have much time, I would like to share with you something of fundamental importance to me. It is a value that has been a guiding principle throughout every day of my life, and which I believe to be essential for you. I am talking about freedom. First of all, you are free to live the life you choose and be yourself. When I was 16, my mother wanted me to become a doctor, and so a doctor I became. I was a very obedient boy. I worked very hard, studied medicine and dermatology for 10 years, and I loved every minute of it. I really did. One day, though, I worked very hard, and one day, though, I saw an ad in the paper for Insead. It was the first time I had heard of this school, but I was intrigued to read that they welcomed applications from lawyers and doctors, bankers and businessmen. The next day, I was on the train to Fontainebleau. There, I met Claire Pike. I will never forget her name. And in just 20 minutes, this lady changed my life. I tried to tell her that the idea of a doctor joining a business school was nonsense. I firmly believed it. But she convinced me that I was wrong. I returned home. I talked to my parents. I went on to complete my studies, working at hospital by day and learning English at night, before finally graduating from medical school. And then I went to Insead. How come I made that choice? How come I quit medicine, a subject I loved, for business studies, which meant starting again from scratch? Simply because I was free to do so. I wanted to discover the world, and I have to say that business was written into my DNA thanks to my family. And my year at Insead turned out to be one of the best years in my life. From the very start, I was thrilled and knew I was in the right place. It was a dream. I had friends from all over the world. Raymond Curry and Othman Domiati from Lebanon, Luigi Gubitozzi from Italy, Javier Prieto from Spain, and so many others. I was fascinated by such a diversity of cultures, languages, and ways of thinking. I was excited by our way of working business cases when we had to read hundreds of pages in a single night. I loved working with others and with teachers from all over the world. I have to say that I was also very popular as a doctor. Since we were working like crazy every night, my remedies were much in demand. And I had many nocturnal visits in my room from people who were close to burnout. Insead is unique because it produces the greatest future international leaders. It is truly the business school for the world. When you work every day with people from Asia, Africa, the United States, and Europe, the whole world seemed suddenly very close. In other words, you become a citizen of the world, and it becomes so much easier to open doors. That's what happened to me. While many of my friends went on to join consultancy firms after graduation, I decided to join the world of industry. I had discovered L'Oréal at Insead, and I was very impressed by their spokespeople talking about beauty, global strategy, and amazing brands like Lancôme, Helena Rubinstein, L'Oréal Paris, and Kerastase. I was very attracted by the entrepreneurial mindset and the openness of these people, and told them that I wanted to change the world and be part of the adventure. Fortunately for me, I was hired by L'Oréal in 1986, and I've been working for this fabulous company ever since. When I started out, I sold sun creams in ski resorts, and now I'm worldwide president of research and innovation for L'Oréal. How come I've stayed so long in the same group? Because L'Oréal has always offered me big challenges and a great deal of freedom to think and act. I graduated from Insead at 27 and joined L'Oréal. After a year, I was put in charge of one of the L'Oréal subsidiaries. By the age of 34, I was the worldwide head of Vichy brand, followed 4 years later by my promotion to general manager of the Active Cosmetics division, one of the 4 main divisions of L'Oréal. In 2005, I was appointed president and CEO of L'Oréal USA, L'Oréal's biggest company, before becoming worldwide president of R&I in 2010. There are many ways to be free. You are free to choose your career like me or my friend, Raymond Curry. Raymond started out as an architect, helping to rebuild Lebanon after the civil war. He did an MBA at Insead, made a lot of money in an investment bank, and then decided to write. He struggled for 15 years. When his novel, The Last Templar, was finally published and met with huge success, selling more than 3 million copies. He continues to write very successful novels and screenplays for TV. Raymond chose his own way and was right to do so. Do the same and don't be afraid to change direction. You're free to give expression to your convictions and groundbreaking ideas. Stick to your values. It is tempting to forget them in the heat of the moment. And if you have strong convictions, you're free to be stubborn about them too. Never, never relinquish your most strongly held idea if you believe they should be acted upon. As Eugène Schueller, the founder of L'Oréal, used to say, the most difficult challenge is not to have a good idea, but to make it happen. You're free to change the future of a product, a brand, a business model, a company. You have the ability to do so. Trust yourself and fight for what you believe in. Above all, you're free to reconcile short and long term. You need to combine a sense of urgency and a sense of vision. It is what Erasmus called festina lente, meaning making haste slowly. Move fast, but take the necessary time for cultural and intellectual enrichment in the way of the humanists of the 16th century. People like Erasmus, Francis I, Leonardo da Vinci, Copernic, and so many others were truly among the first leaders of our global world. In other words, you're free to do much more than you may imagine. Of course, it won't be easy because freedom has a price. There is no such thing as a free lunch. If things start to be too easygoing, you should start to worry. Naturally, you won't always be able to do everything you want. There are rules, compromises will have to be made. And it's hard, believe me, to keep your line of thinking with so many obstacles that will inevitably block your way. Of course, you will have to work to 100% of your capacity and more, but always remember to take a step back when necessary to remain clear-headed. Yet, being aware of what is going on around you and of your own limits doesn't mean being passive. On the contrary, it is what we call at L'Oréal la saine inquiétude or the healthy concern. Victor Hugo used to say, more freedom brings more responsibility. This is so true. As well as fighting for freedom, never forget that there is no freedom without commitments. Make your commitments now. Don't wait to be too old and tired to do so. Earning money is not enough. You will be very poor if you only make money. Insead develops social projects like Beyond the Classroom to help disadvantaged children. Go for it. Fortunately, companies are more and more in the forefront now when it comes to promoting societal and ethical values, values such as respect for others, integrity, honesty, and the importance of sustainable development. Again, grab at the chance and get involved. At L'Oréal, our involvement goes beyond sustainable development as a KPI. Respect for differences in beauty all around the world is truly at the heart of our strategy. That is why diversity is so relevant and essential for L'Oréal, and also why L'Oréal is so grateful to Insead. We have in common a long-standing relationship built on key values such as talent, entrepreneurial spirit, diversity, creativity, awareness, leadership. Many of the great leaders at L'Oréal studied at Insead. Sir Lindsay Owen-Jones, the president of L'Oréal for more than 20 years, immediately springs to mind. And also Gilles Veil, former president of Luxury Division, François Vacher, former head of the Human Resources Department, Jean-Philippe Blancpain, our current head of operations. There are also around 50 Insead graduates working at the company right now. That's why We are so happy to give back by providing scholarships and contributing to the school's development. With the chair on marketing, innovation, and creativity, thanks to the great help of Deepak Jain, Peter Zemsky, and Pierre Chandon, who made that fabulous project possible. Very soon, you will give back too, using your skills, your vision, your personality to create value, to create jobs, and to become a leader of your own. 20 years ago, someone asked me if what I was doing was useful. It is something I ask myself every day, because what is important is doing what you love, what you think is good, what you believe to be important, and what makes you proud of yourself. This is your freedom, your responsibility, and the key to your success. To conclude, let me tell you a story. It is a story of a man who left his beloved Tunisia and came to France in 1959 without anything to his name. He created a paint manufacturing company. When I was 10, the factory burned down. There was nothing left. This man started again from scratch, forming a new company distributing scientific materials for labs, universities, and hospitals, and creating more than 50 jobs. By the time I was 25, he was considered a great entrepreneur. This man is my father. When I was your age, I didn't realize how extraordinary his life was. He had the strength to start over and over again. He was successful, and he contributed to the development of his region. I wish you to be like him. I wish you to possess his courage and never be paralyzed by fear or despair. I wish you to be true to yourself and your strongest convictions. I wish you to feel free to do great things. I wish you to feel pride in what you do. I wish you all the very best. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Laurent. I think it's always great to hear some of the similarities between what you experienced and what you, as the current students, have experienced, and then to project yourselves forward. I look forward to having many of you back here as graduation speakers in the years ahead. However, one of the challenges of putting together hundreds of such accomplished and driven students is it a huge challenge to teach you. There is probably no school, no set of MBA students as difficult as at Insead. I think the diversity, the experience you bring, as wonderful as it is, makes the teaching here especially challenging. We regularly have new teachers and visitors come in from other schools who struggle for several years as they figure out how to make things work here. And given that, I think there's no bigger award or recognition for business school teachers than a Best Teacher Award at Insead. So it's my pleasure to call down some of the academic reps to announce this year's winner of your Best Teacher Awards. I assure you this means quite a bit to the colleagues who receive it. All right. Over to you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It has been an Insead tradition of every graduating promotion to recognize the professors who have challenged us, taught us a new way of thinking, as well as helped us achieve our goals. Keeping with the tradition, our cohort voted for the best core as well as elective, and it is the privilege of the academic reps of 12D to announce and present these awards at this graduation ceremony. Needless to say, each and every professor made a contribution to our experience at Insead and will be remembered in our journey ahead.
The nominees for the best core course in Fontainebleau are Blat Mares, Price and Markets, Nikos Petas, Price and Markets, and Antonio Fatas, Macroeconomics. And the award goes to Antonio Fatas for Macroeconomics.
Sit down, sit down. Antonio is not here. Antonio is in Singapore and he couldn't be with us today. But actually, he sent us a note that we have to read to thank you for this award. Dear participants, it is a great honor to receive the Best Teacher Award in the MBA program. Teaching matters a lot to me and to my colleagues. We all truly care about doing well in the classroom, and we work hard to make your academic experience as rich and interesting as possible, as I hope it showed during your year here. I am sorry that I cannot be here sharing your happiness during the graduation in Fontainebleau. I attended the one in Singapore on Wednesday, and I must say that it was very nice to see you all classmates arriving on time, nicely dressed, not reading messages from their phones, not falling asleep, just the way I remember all the lectures from my course back in May. All the best for the future, and please stay in touch. Antonio.
The nominees for the best elective course in Fontainebleau: Linda Brim for Career Dynamics, Massimo Massa for Applied Corporate Finance, Carol Kuhl, Industry and Competitive Analysis. The award goes to any takers? Massimo Massa for ACF.
So Massimo couldn't be here as he is away with his family for the holidays. He sent us a message. Okay. Dear all, first of all, let me say that I'm really sorry for not being able to be here today, but I'm off the country now. I'd like to thank all the P3 students for this prize. I'm very happy to receiving it because it is granted by a special set of people. We are talking about very smart students with a significant working experience who care about learning relevant stuff. Quite a really special and unique sample. This means that for us, teaching you is not only challenging, but also very rewarding in itself. Indeed, even if it may not seem so in the dimmed light of the amphis, you really help us faculty to grow and learn. The reason why I find very nice to receive the prize is that it suggests that you have enjoyed my teaching and learned out of it the same way I have learned quite a lot teaching and interacting with you. My best wishes to all of you, and please stay in touch. Massimo.
Thank you.
All right. So one of the pleasures of running this program is that as hard as we work and as much effort as we put into it, we know as we welcome the new classes every year that at least half the effort is going to come from you in terms of creating the experience. One of the key groups for us in making a link between your activities and your plans and what we're trying to accomplish is the Student Council. And it's a great pleasure to call up on stage Lorenzo Guarda. Lorenzo. You ready? We look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Okay.
So Lorenzo is not here today. He sent us a message that I'm going to read. Wow. I rewrote this speech so many times in the last few days that hopefully I will give you the final version. It is a true honor for me to stand up here on behalf of this unmatched group of individuals and share with all of you my feelings at the end of a memorable year. First, I should tell you how I ended up being here. As any other admitted candidate, before starting my MBA, I was watching videos on YouTube to try to understand what Insead would look like. And for some reason, graduation speeches were my favorite. I used to watch over and over the students coming on stage with so much confidence, so many wise things to say, that I really wanted to be here one day. There were only 3 ways to get here. Winning the Ford Prize? Not likely. Being the elected speaker? Low chances. As a member of Student Council, I made it. Let me start by giving some well-deserved credits. First and foremost, I would like to thank all of you guests, families, partners, friends. Your presence here today makes this day so special. Sharing this great accomplishment with the people we love gives an ultimate meaning to this experience. Trust me, we understand how hard it has been for you. Mom, honey, I'm sorry I've missed those Skype calls. Then, I would like to thank all the faculty members. You taught us how to ask the right questions, not just accepting prepackaged answers. You helped us shape a vision that will allow us to create value as future leaders of the world to come. Last but not least, we owe a thank you to the whole administration staff. You made our life so much easier in the last 12 months. Campus exchange, national weeks, clubs events, anything became possible because of your tireless support and endless patience. Thank you. So, what is it that really makes this promotion so exceptional in my eyes? It is not just about the numbers and figures. Yes, we are 510 bright and talented professionals. Yes, we all come from more than 70 different countries. Yes, we all have studied in 2 campuses across the globe. And yes, we have learned 3 languages to get our diploma. Well, most of us. Yeah. But what is it then? I believe it is the passion and the commitment these extraordinary human beings have put in everything they have accomplished this year, by constantly finding the energy to go that extra mile. It is the willingness to help each other in making our way in life by sharing our experiences, but more importantly, our mistakes and the lessons we learned along the way. That is why I believe that the value of this unique and yet diverse community is surely much more than just numbers and figures. And that is why I'm so proud to be part of it. as I was preparing this speech, I felt also the responsibility to try and give my words of wisdom. I'm sorry, I mean, all my heroes on YouTube did it. I might as well give it a shot. We are now finishing up the MBA and about to re-enter in the real world. For those of you who were able to catch Tom and Jonathan's speeches at Singapore graduation, they explain it as us having to leave the comfortable playground of Insead and having to grow up again. So are we all ready for this? Some of us here have jobs, others are searching. Others have jobs but are still searching. Others have no jobs and are not even searching. But all of us are wondering whether what we will do next will make sense in the bigger picture of our life. How do we know if the decisions we make today are the right ones? How do we know if the experiences, the memories, the pictures we collect in life will ultimately fit? A special person I met in Insead a few days ago reminded me of the words of Steve Jobs. In his commencement speech at Stanford, he said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future." Fellow classmates, I wish all of you much more than just luck. Trust me that the dots will connect. Much of what you stumble upon today can become priceless in the future. So whatever path you choose for yourself now, you are preparing for a time in the future where everything will suddenly make sense. Guests, professors, staff, once again, thank you for your patience today. And now, please join me and give a warm welcome to two brilliant and yet handsome young men that will tell us a little bit more about how we have spent our time and your money this year. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Daniel Norani and Mr. Brice Richard.
Good
Afternoon.
everyone.
My
Name
is
Brice.
and
My
name
is
Daniel.
we
Thought
we
would
start
by
speaking
like
this
just
to
freak
you.
out. But don't fret. But don't fret. We're not that crazy. Just a couple of important announcements before we get started. Is anyone driving to Charles de Gaulle at 10 p.m. tonight?
Also, quick career services reminder, the IFC event that was scheduled on Tuesday at 7 p.m. has been cancelled and will be removed from your calendars repeatedly over the next few weeks.
Now that the administrative pleasantries are out of the way, dear friends, beloved families, esteemed alumni, gorgeous faculty, our eminent grace, Peter Zemsky, and supreme guide, glorious overlord, Sir Deepak Jain. We stand before you this afternoon bearing responsibilities of historic proportions.
There is indeed no greater honor than being chosen to be the voice of so many. For reasons yet unexplained, you decided to waste this honor on us, but it's merely the most recent example of a long series of terrible decisions.
The pressure of your misguided trust would have been too great were it not for your kind words of support and love.
These are a couple emails that we received from you, a couple very touching ones. Dear Daniel and Brice, I will kill you if you screw it up. Warm regards, Robert. Or that second one, dudes, my grandmother is attending the ceremony. If you make one dirty joke, I will stick your diploma where the sun
Needless
doesn't.
to say, needless to say, Bryce and I thought long and hard about how to capture the true essence of Insead's 12D promotion in a single speech. Something with laughter, tears, suspense, passion, sensuality, and the right amount of nudity.
Okay. So to come up with our text, we downloaded for 99 cents the iSpeech app on iPad and processed through it the most eloquent public speakers in history. And this is the speech that came out of it. 47 years ago, we were raised by a Kenyan father and an American mother who had the experience but missed the meaning. We now stand before you with a dream. To be ein Berliner, stay hungry, and stay foolish. Yes, we can.
There is also one thing we want to say to Insead people, and we want to say it again. Ask not what Insead can do for you, but what you can do for Insead, besides paying 56,000 euros in tuition fee. And understand deep in your heart that vomit is disgusting.
Well, obviously, using as speech did not really produce the expected results. So, with a lack of common sense that only the deepest desperation can explain, we turned to the blue ocean strategy to come up with a Cirque du Soleil of graduation speeches. And we did something that has never been done at Insead, never.
We sent out a survey to all students that only took 2 minutes to fill, offering an exciting prize to one randomly selected person.
So congratulations to Steven, who won 2 pounds of frozen baklava and a backpack Dora the Explorer. You can pick it up from us after the speech. Thank you.
The survey provided invaluable insights as to which issues students wanted mentioned. The first and most important one was to resolve the yet unresolved Insead debate. Which Insead campus is the best one?
Now, we researched for months, comparing the quality of the food, the fluidity of blackboard rotation, the awesomeness of the party scene, the overall hotness of the student body, of course, and the disgustingness of the free coffee on offer.
Ladies and gentlemen, the results are in. The best campus by a wide margin is
Singi. Dude, I thought we had agreed this morning at breakfast, like it's Singapore.
Dude, you never listened to me. I mentioned it was Fonty. The numbers don't lie.
But numbers, look at the fact. I mean, in Singapore, we have Attica, we have Pangaea, we have Coup d'etat, we have One Attitude. You guys party in a barn with a couple pigs. That's serious.
Oh yeah? Well, at least we have alcohol, wine from the greatest properties, vodka, gin, tonic. You guys spend Insead's tuition fee every time you buy an Appletini.
Yeah, okay, that's fine, but we have the weather, the summer, the sun all year long.
Ha! We have great weather too, for that 1 week in July when no one is here. But in Fonty, you're surrounded by Insead people wherever you go.
Yeah, exactly. You're surrounded by Insead people everywhere you go. You know, and in Singapore, everybody speaks English.
That was English?
All right, touche. But, you know, we have pankil,
Ibiza,
pepper crab,
bread and cheese,
pushan,
Pekka,
swimming pools,
foosball,
public services,
democracy,
Orchard Tower.
the forest of Fontainebleau.
Okay, after a short deliberation, it is very clear that Insead's Ben campus is Abu Dhabi. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Now that we've settled the debate, students also wanted us to use the speech to provide Insead with constructive criticism and relevant recommendation. So think of it as a CV review with career services, but with actual helpful comments. I had to say this. All right. So first of all, dear Deepak, as much as it hurts to say this, there's a terrible truth that all Singapore students must share with you today. The world is not ready for flushless toilets.
Yes, flushless toilets. Like many ideas ahead of their time, their intuition is perfect, but the technology is, well, not there yet. So please, dear Deepak, as much as we love saving polar bears, nothing is worth the torture of entering the men's room when it is asparagus day in the cafeteria.
Second of all, recruitment. When we asked students, what do you think about career services? 98% answer, well, that would be a great idea.
But undidn't.
No, in all seriousness, the efforts of the current team are heroic given the current state of the economy. I mean, employees are getting pickier by the minute.
Nowadays, getting a position as a junior assistant garbage can remover requires 10 years of relevant experience, 27 examples of leadership, a letter from Obama thanking you for world peace, fluent Mandarin, of course, and a couple of incriminating pictures of the CEO dressed as a ladyboy.
Now, career counselors with targeted expertise could help us meet the most daunting challenges. For example, all companies coming on campus claim to be looking for people with international experience, analytical skills, and an interest in making a difference. The only person at Insead not fulfilling these qualifications is Cookie, the French poodle of the janitor. Yet, Cookie aside, too few of us make the cut.
We are also equally dire need for a consulting application discourager. A dedicated person who walks around campus reminding students that there is a world of opportunities out there. It would look like this. Hello, sir. I would like to apply to consulting. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Third point, dear Deepak. It is crucial that Insead attract more women in the upcoming years. Not only because we need more female leaders, but also because the current 2-to-1 ratio causes dramatic market distortions.
Indeed, the imbalance between men's supply and lady demand has led this year to serious testosterone overcapacity. As a result, the female surplus was captured by a few male players with unfair competitive advantage in six-pack abs and thick, gorgeous hair.
To increase the female population, we recommend that Insead maintains high levels of male good-lookingness. 12D batch was a batch of unprecedented quality. However, looking at the 13Js, it is clear that Insead standards are slipping dangerously.
In addition, Insead should offer classes that cater exclusively to the ladies, such as how to finance your own shopping spree, or your first 100 days understanding that, no, you don't look fat in that dress.
Finally, dear Deepak, Insead is losing its lead as a business school for the world. Harvard, Stanford have all opened international campuses and are even rumored to have accepted a few foreign students, mostly Canadians. To preempt competition, our school needs to go where no other MBA program has gone before. We suggest Insead opens its brand new Hogwarts campus.
Hogwarts is a magical place, Deepak. A place with a large, non-unionized, gobbling workforce, happy to staff your administration more than 35 hours a week. A place where our Quidditch team, like our rugby team, can truly remain undefeated. A place where partners are happy when their spouses go party in a chateau. And a place where some storytellers claim it is even possible to change location, position, and industry at the same time.
For the last part of our speech, 12D students wanted us to be ambitious and tried to capture the essence of our year at Insead. What could be more complicated than this? Do we measure it by the amount of knowledge we have gained, our final GPA, the number of zeros in our paycheck?
Or is it a more complex, a more fleeting formula, like number of chicken costumes at the Dash, plus the number of men wearing tutus at Cabaret, multiplied by crazy National Week parties, divided by the font size of your cheat sheet, to the power of the bushiness of Ding Dipat's moustache?
As MBAs, we are inclined to find a formula, a KPI, to quantify everything. However, it is not because of the measurable quantities that our Insead experience will linger for so long. It is because of the countless daily miracles that we did not pay attention to at first. These are the things we take for granted, but whose absence will be most felt at the end.
It is the goosebumps we all had in the auditorium on the last day of Welcome Week.
It is the frustration of answering again and again those same 3 freaking questions. Where are you from? What did you do before Insead? What do you want to do after Insead?
It is the sudden panic we all felt when we opened our CFP exam.
It is that feeling of belonging that sets in at 3 a.m. at a party.
It is that walk to the bathroom, which is supposed to take 2 minutes, but which ends up taking 45 because we meet 12 people along the way.
It is the selflessness of that student who helped us prepare for the position he was also competing for.
It is the heartbreak that followed everything as we sounded the bell.
It is the sheer joy of receiving the offer you wanted.
It is the sheer joy of seeing your fellow Inseaders receiving the offer they wanted.
It is all those people who throughout the year saw you at your most earnest, your most sublime, your most vulnerable, and loved you nonetheless.
In essence, it is these tiny threads that slowly wove our bond and common experience as Insead's 12D promotion. And in the grand scheme of things, it might not be much, but for every one of us, it is everything. While we came in as many, we're coming out as one.
For this incredible year, many here today deserve our deepest gratitude. Thank you, Dean Deepak, for always staying with us, in spirit, if not body. Thank you, Dean Sepsky, for showing us that a decent haircut is not a precondition to running an MBA program. And for steering with calm and composure what can only be described as a mental hospital whose patients found the key to the liquor cabinet.
Thank you, dear faculty, for truly believing there is no such thing as a stupid question, and making sure we walk out from all this with more than 10 pounds of readings, which we promise we will read at some point in the future.
Thank you, Insead administration, for getting the admissions process so right. Each Inseader you accepted was an unbelievable human being, minus a couple of douchebags for diversity's sake.
Thank you, beloved partners, for being our pillar of strength throughout the year. While you had your own lives to live, you put up graciously with our absence, our late nights, our tantrums, and our meltdowns.
Thank you, dear parents, for nurturing us and supporting us unconditionally. Even though this year we may not have given you the attention you deserve, know that you never drifted from our hearts and minds.
And finally, thank you, 12D students, for the gift of your friendship.
As we say goodbye tonight, as we feel that part of us ripped away as you make your way to the airport, let us not be too despondent. Let's simply try to remember the words of Dr. Seuss. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
And I'm tempted to paraphrase, don't cry because it's over, buy a freaking plane ticket and come visit. Because now is truly the time to start again. Be it taking a late night flight to attend a wedding, sending the MP3 of your son's heartbeat to 1,000 cell phone, or giving advice to fellow insiders when they face important decisions.
If there is one takeaway from all of this, it is this: make time for the people that matter in your life. What Insead 2012 will become as 5-year reunions make our way to 10-year reunions is completely up to us.
Now, we wanted to end this year like it all started, with an oath. So, dear Insead 12B students, please stand up and repeat after us.
We, the awesome people of Insead 12D, solemnly swear to always be there for each other.
To always be there for each other.
Even for that annoying dude who always raises his hand in class.
Even for that annoying dude who always raises their hand in class.
We promise to send surveys only if.
We promise to send surveys only if.
Our new business idea has some chance of taking off.
Our new business idea has some chance of taking off.
And to reply all only and exclusively when.
And to reply all only and exclusively when.
The information applies to everyone.
The information applies to everyone.
Or the joke is really, 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 really funny.
Or the joke is really, 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 really funny. We, people of Insead.
We people of Insead
also promise to give Daniel and Bryce
also promise to give Daniel and Bryce
an iPad 3 for Christmas.
an iPad 3 for Christmas.
Too late, you said it. We promise to answer networking emails from future students,
We promise to answer networking emails from future students,
even if they have no clue
even have
which position they're looking for. Because neither did we. And finally, we swear to always pick up a fellow Inseader,
to always
be it when she's down or stuck at Charles de Gaulle Airport.
By the powers that have been granted to us by you guys, we declare everyone, from now and ever, proud members of the Insead 12D class. You may now embrace the person next to you. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you for the feedback. I would say it's fitting. I have probably, from your class, received hundreds of suggestions and emails over the course of the year. We have a lot of ambition as a school, and unfortunately, academic institutions move somewhat slowly, so you don't see all the progress that we make in your 1 year with us. But I will at least announce one change that's coming in January, coming out of some of the feedback and discussions that we've had with you. Were any of you around last spring? We had about 50 students brainstorming on how to make entrepreneurship better at Insead. This happened. Anyway, out of that came a discussion about creating a launch pad for entrepreneurship on campus. And I'm proud to announce that we have now secured significant funding from Accenture, and there will be a launch pad on the Fontainebleau campus as of January. So, I'm still not going to increase my budget for haircuts, however, so there we go. All right, before we have now, a tradition, the naming of the Ford Prize winner. So we have, there are two honors at Insead for high grades. First of all, those in the top 10% of the class graduate with distinction, and then one individual out of the 500 with the highest GPA is awarded the Ford Prize. This year's winner of the Ford Prize is Osama Hamid. Osama could not be with us today, but he sent the following message. No, anyway, he had a lovely speech in Singapore. All right, now, do you guys want diplomas? All right, I'm going to call down Sven Biel to help me. So come on down, Sven. What? And I don't know. I realize in my opening remarks to you, I forgot an important piece of information, which is Sven does read the graduating names. So many of you have had some testy exchanges with him over the year, and we do give him the right to drop a couple names. So just reflect on that as you wait to hear if he calls you. Sven, come on down.
Okay, it's my pleasure to call on stage the first graduate of the December 12th class, which is Karim Abadir. Beshara Abiyassi. Anthony Abiana. Gus Aerts. Rami Ajami. Emre Akul with distinction. Asad Al-Ashi. Martin Amark. Borja Aparicio. Enrico Arietti. Chrysis Aristidou. Pedro Ascenso with distinction. Karim Atala. Natalia Avdeva. Melalait Ayenu. Rami Azi. Tarek Balbaki. Fawad Bashva. Paulo Barcelos. Karim Bassil. Stefan Bauer. Reynald Bejaoui. Alexei Belkin. Yoav Ben-Ari. Richard Bertrand. Priya Bandari, with distinction. Matteo Bianchi. Hussein Binsat. Thanos Bissenpigianis with distinction. Kyle Black. Ian Black. Éric Bleuel. Frédéric Beuls. Damien Bon with distinction. Jacques Bopp. Reed Scott Bushell. Beat Breiger. Véronique Brua. Olivier Buffon with distinction. Carlos Buitelar. Vorachok Buntu Wong. Stefano Buscaglia. Olivia Calafat. Francisco de Calleros. Nathalie Cambier. Arnaud Casaledes. Amandine Chailloux. Karim Chamas. Andrew Charbin. Yanis Chatsidakis. Khalil Shead. Charles Chen. Ludovic Chopin. Thomas Krastek. Andrea Cilara Rossi, with distinction. Gabriel Codessal. Didier Copiters, with distinction. Emanuele Cordone. Adrien Kreininx. Ralph Davis. Augustin de Bettigny. Alexis de Fontenay. Jonathan de Jong, with distinction. Niki Demarchi. Diego de Sartigues. Amit Desai. Jamie Devlin. Pablo Diaz Dominguez. Carole Dohan. Matthew Dresch. Ami Dweck. Tariq Elazouzi. Sami El Khouri. Jonathan Epstein. Vassim Estefan. Marc Etena. Philip Even. Fabio Faganini. Shaika Fakro. Hanif Faki. Catalina Fang. Antonio Faraldi. Eli Fares. Ryan Frank. Moises Garcia. Offer Garden. Lucas Geiler. Olivier Gillin. Lorenzo Guarda. Tania Goel. Luisa Gonzalez. José Manuel González. Maria Chiara Gorlandi. Peter Gould. Bertie Gard. Francisco Guerra. François Guillet. Antoine Guillou. Fabio Gulo. Apar Gourbax. Karim Haddad. Zornica Adjito Todorova. Zornica. Archie Hardiman. Marion Henriot. Jamal Hilal. Ken Ho. Sean Hogan. Annabelle Holroyd. Carol Hong. Rebecca Hood with distinction. Daisuke Imoto. Celine Infeld. Saad Irfani. Iti Jain. Needy Jane with distinction. Thomas Yurdi. Tom Yurkanis. Udo Kaja. Patrick Kane. Marc Karam. Luigi Cassir. Catherine Comey. Bilal Khan. Nahim Khan. Usman Khan. Alexei Kutoretsky. Ayman Kishli. Sriram Kilapakam. Sharon Klapka. Cheryl Clufio. Robert Knorek. Giorgia Cocchini. Aluma Komaromi. Tapas Quila. Igor Kotovoy. Xavier Lagardère with distinction. Rabi Lahad. Magali Larangeau. Philippe Léal. Frédéric Leinen. François Lemaire-Sicre. Gaspard Lancastre. Nadine Leslau. Sherman Lowe. Roberto Longo with distinction. Mila Lukic. Fatou Mabogo. Nicolas Machard. Angela Madrids. Ritinda Malhotra. Fabien Mandrillon. Amrita Mani. Rakana Manzinka. Kopelia Marinkovic. Lucas Markovic Bastos. Ismail Sola Masha. Livia Maziero. Luz Matres Santos. Mitsuki Matsuda. Ryan McCall. Angela Mays. Shay Mendelssohn. Ioannis Mergos. Irina Mikhailova. Zdravko Mladenov. Anna Moisten Williams. Mazen Moussalem. Jad Moussali. Paul Mulder. Saïd Mourad. Imad Nasr. Arthur Nittison. Jonathan Nguyen Phong. Ash Nicol. Gadi and James. Daniel Norani. Eva Novak. Erika Otella. Vivek Parikh with distinction. Ni Parker Alote. Guido Parella. Paddy Partridge. Ben John Pasquier with distinction. Natasha Pavlova. Oti Pepra. Olga Petrikova. Thomas Payo. Quentin Philippe with distinction. Falco Pichlo with distinction. Mina Piecari, with distinction. Ariel Porat. Congratulations. Giuseppe Raccanelli. Deepa Ramanathan with distinction. Rupa Ranganathan. Sharia Radza. Brice Richard. Félicitations. Marisa Luza Rodriguez. Natasha Rostovcheva. Thibaut Rouillon. Guilherme Sakadjiri. Marco Sandrone. Gonzalo Santos. Varun Sarin. Harsh Saxena with distinction. Naama Schlam. Tatiana Selskaya. Ana Serrano. Aya Shasha. Jahanzeb Mahmoud Sheikh. Caroline Sheldon. Xi Shen. Puneet Singh. Mazen Slim with distinction. Guida Souza. Miloš Sroka-Chalot. Daniele Stenico. Helen Stewart. Philippe Song. Pascal Surug. Edgar Svari with distinction. Dmitry Signac. Elena Tarasevich. Mardik Cholakian. Razvan Teslau. Rohit Tali. Maud Thuaudet. Kemi Tijani. Lynn Tonsberg. Thailand Torin. Martin Treiber with distinction. George Trigeorgis with distinction. Tatu Umarova. Amp Vashrabaya. Daniel van Hengel. Vladimir Varbanov with distinction. Carlos Ignacio Velasco Castrillon. Shivika Verma. Andreas Waldmann. Shaoyi Wang. Meryl Waters. Carla Wilson with distinction. Gerd Wipplinger with distinction. Alexei Zagrodzky. Tariq Zaza. Luca Zanzi. Hassan Zeaiter. Harris Zhu with distinction. Tianyue Roy Zhu. Karen Zhu. And our last graduate to be called on stage, Rafael Zuana.
right. I'm going to call back up Deepak Jain to give a few reflections on today. Deepak?
Please don't worry, I don't have much to say, but I really congratulate all of you, and I can just tell you that many of you have heard about Elizabeth Taylor, and she wanted to introduce her third husband to an audience, and she said, I won't keep you that long, right? So that's what she meant was, then she went to the fourth one. So I'm not going to keep you that long. I heard the suggestions made by our students, and I want to rest assure you that many people get advice, few benefit from it, and we are really going to make sure that we hear what you have to say, and we will look into that. And one year, I invited Jeff Immelt for the graduation ceremony, and in his speech, he said, the reason I came to Kellogg was to get a hug from Dean Jain. So my president said, I hope you don't do this for all the graduates. He said, have you ever asked your wife what she thinks of it? I said, my wife always believes in that if you are on diet, that doesn't mean you cannot look at the menu, right? So that is my thing that, but on behalf of the school, it's a great moment for us. When you are graduating and we are adding another 500 students or so to our list, it's not only an accomplishment for you, but also an accomplishment for all of us, the teachers, people in the dean's office, for our staff. And I don't like to say goodbye. I say see you later. And I'm sure that in all the alumni reunions, I will get a chance to welcome you again at Insead. In the meantime, if you have any other suggestion, don't hesitate to tell us. You know, feedback has a bitter taste, but a better aftertaste. And I'm looking for that better aftertaste. Again, all of us should just clap and say, it was a great moment and a great experience. Thank you.
All right. All right, folks. It's time to end this. One last thought. I had a tremendous watching you all have fun during the year and learn, and there's always some jealousy, of course, seeing that. I guess now we get a little bit of revenge, Deepak and I, because you have to go out into the world and we get to stay here in this special place. But at the end, class of 12D, let me just invite you to stay here too, to keep a bit of the spirit of Insead alive in yourself. Invite you, of course, to stay connected with your classmates in the years to come. And also, as we heard, I'd like to invite you to stay connected to the school, because it's now very much your school too. On behalf of the Insead faculty, the board, the staff, I congratulate you on your successful graduation, and I declare the class of 12D officially graduated. Congratulations. So, family and friends and partners, you've been incredibly patient. You may go and have a drink before the graduates descend on the bar. I highly advise you to get a jump on them. Graduates, you will stay here for your official graduation photo. So family, friends, you may take off if you want, and we'll just keep your loved ones for another 60 seconds.
Students, please, yeah, get closer to the center row. And not too close to the scene, please. But in the center row, please. Squeeze, squeeze.